So I'm going to give this example. This is my equation. You all have your equations that you found by giving your data and on the Desmos link. So we want to put this in from standard form, which this is standard form, into vertex form. Or vertex form is something like y equals some number, parentheses, x minus or plus a number squared, plus some other number. So we're trying to get in vertex form where we could clearly see the vertex. So my first step when trying to do this is to move over our c term. So I'm going to subtract this over. Subtract this over to both sides. And I get y minus 7.9 equals all of this stuff on this side. So we saw from a couple months ago that when we have a problem like this and we're trying to get in vertex form, we use completing the square. As you know from this project and from our benchmark and things we've done recently, you cannot have an a value greater than or less than 1 to be able to complete the square. So I am going to divide out from this side a negative 0.1234. So we're going to leave this side the same. So y minus 7.89 equals negative 0.1234. And we're going to have our x squared. I take my 5.6 and divide a negative 0.1234 in my calculator. And I get minus 45.3809. We'll cut it off that far. X. Now I can complete the square. Completing the square requires me to take my b value, divide it by 2, and square it. So I take my negative 45 point whatever. I didn't cut it off in my calculator, so I'm going to divide it by 2. I'm going to square it, and I get 514.855, and I'll write that down. So y minus 7.89 equals negative 0.1234 x squared minus 45.3809 x plus 514.8559. I'll stop there. Now that we got this, we added 514.8559 times the number on the outside, the negative 0.1234, to the right side. But that's not a balance. If we think about our balance, that's not balanced. So I take this number and multiply it by this number to see what I'm adding to this left side. So I multiply my new c value by negative 0.1234. And I'm going to put that to this side. So that was a negative 63.5332 when I multiply them together. So I'm going to combine that like on this side. So I have my negative 63.5332, and I'm going to subtract the 7.89 from it. So now this side is y minus 71.4232 equals negative 0.1234. Now I can make this inside by completing the square. So this term in here is always our b divided by 2. So our 45.3809 divided by 2 is 22.6905 squared. I just completed the square on the inside. So my final equation is y equals negative 0.1234 x minus 22.6905 squared, and then we add this over plus 71.4232. And when you graph this, or you look at your graph, or you look at the trials you had, this should be around what your vertex was. So my vertex was 22.6905, comma 71.4232. And we saw when we used the Desmos, it was a little bit different. It was a little bit off than what our average was, but it was close enough. So these are the steps you would take. I do want you to type this up so you can show me how you did it. And thanks for watching.